So these are a couple things for aero photography. So if you just want good photos of it, you'll have really, really good photos out there. They're 4K. Some of them are higher than that, but you're really not going to see anything different on there. You can zoom in with them, see that geographic mapping. So if you really don't want it survey grade, you can do it. Mapping grade, disasters. Like it's really, you can go check an area really quick for disasters. Also asset management. So if you have a construction site and you get a load of stone dumped over the weekend and you think it was gone, the guy can take a photo of it on Friday, come back out there Monday. You can do a volume calc on it, really good on it, real quick. Same for farms and everything, and then search and rescue has thermal on there, but we're not going to go that far into it. That's just where they're going at with that. Typical. The drone, same as a scanner, you're going to have an infrared on there, which is doing your basically like your LiDAR stuff, which is on the bottom, and you're going to have the photogram that you want on there. So same thing as the scanners that you got. This here is a photo of our neighborhood when we were just up flying around. So I have a lot of different photos. So from this photo here, this is on, I'd say, probably a mid-level drone here, but the imagery here, he's about 250 feet above the house. And from this, you could draw many different things on here. Just showing a picture of a guy out on a construction site. So pretty dangerous hazards out there to walk around. So if you just want a guy to go out there and just do photos of the site, he can go around and do quick photos on the site. You don't have to worry about him walking around out there, getting hurt, getting in anybody's way. You just have to be mindful that there's a drone flying around and that there's people underneath. So you have to let everyone know what's going on. So in this situation, you'd have 2 people out there watching over the drone to make sure nothing was in the way or no one got hurt. Now, 2 different types of drones. This one here is basically your everyday when you can get off a store shelf. When we mix it with the survey grade, we're basically taking survey control and mixing it with the photo. This one here does 4K, does 60 frames a second. So this isn't really, I would say, like LiDAR grade. This is just going to be quick photo, go out there. Hey guys, I want to look at the site. Can you give me something that'll give me quick measurements on photos? This we can deploy very quick and get out to your site. So this one here, probably 50% of the applications would be towards you. You just come out there, quick photo of the whole area, break it down, building, whatever you got out there. So this would most likely be the drone you'd be seeing if you're using our service. And then this is what it does. You fly out to an office building, you take a picture. So now here's the picture of the office building all the way up top. Now we bring it into our software, depending which one you're using. It's Geo Referenced in at the same time. And now you can start drawing measurements right on here very quickly. So say, you needed something done by the weekend or you need it for next week. I need to know this measurement really quick out there. Get a guy to survey out there. Up top, it's going to take a while. Put a drone up there. You can be in and out of there in half a day. I have my license and we are inquiring another person with another license to fly drones out there because you do want to be in compliance. So this showing from our software, you can draw right off the top on that. You just click right on the photo, bring it in, and you're drawing. It's Geo Reference. You can take the measurements right out, stick it in the CAD, and you're good to go. Basically, the same thing we're doing with the scanning, you can do with the drone. Now, the same reason why I keep saying scanning is because as I get further into this, it's a mix because it's a really good mix of drone and scanning, and we can take a complete site and give you a nice 3D model of it, which we've already been doing. So for doing utility markings, same thing. You can do the striping out here. You can see all utilities. You fly the drone in the right of way. That's the only way to do it. You can't fly over a car's right. In this case, you would ask if you're doing a mall, you try to do this probably in the evening or night when there was no one in the parking lot and close that section of the parking lot down while you were doing it so no one would be underneath you. This area here could be probably done probably less than 10 minutes. I mean, a whole parking garage, I mean, you figure a drone is doing a 10-acre area in about 5 minutes. And then you can take the imagery back in, you can draw off of it, and that's way faster than you can survey it. That's depending on what you need on there. If you need any mapping grade, you got it there. If you need to go survey grade, we're going to have to do a little more to it to bring it into that. Same here, a little bit blurry, but they drew all off of the actual drone photo. So you have all your plot lines, all your tanks in there. I know it's a little blurry, I apologize. So the earlier photo I was showing, this is the neighbor here. So here's the photo. Now, I geo referenced everything on here off of that. There's 2 points on these photos. On the next slide, I'll show you. So basically with the photo drone, everyone's used to panel points. So the panel points are set with 2 GPS points down here. Once you go fly over them, you make sure you have them in. And then when you bring it into the software, you just stick those where they're supposed to be. So from that far, if you can see, there's a red chalk line on the top of the right screen there, pointing towards. And if you look down on the left-hand side, when in between the tree, right beside the white van, there's another panel point pointing towards the direction of where we're doing the flying. These are essential to doing the photogrammetry ones. Not as essential when you start doing the RTK and LiDAR stuff, because you're already bringing the drone into RTK. So if you have an RTK service, which we already use, the Trimble KeyNet service, you're hooked right into that. So if anyone's normal to Trimble stuff, you have an R8, an R10, or R12, or an R2 running as your base with a radio, and that transmits back to the drone. That's not this one. This is just a photo one. This is the one that's an RTK drone. This has your LiDAR head on it, and this will have a bigger camera on it to get a lot more data out of it. This one here, you need to get your flight pass set down with the FAA. You basically need to call them. This one's going to be probably at about 300 feet. The misconception with a lot of the LiDAR that the guys are going to fly here, is you need to be high. You can't really fly it that high because you're missing a lot of data. It blends out stuff. So I found that flying any of the LiDAR stuff, you want to be under 300 feet. Now, if trees are involved in there, you're going to have some problems anyway. We're trying to get coverage, and it's going to be on the ground. It really doesn't do that good unless you're talking around this time of year when the leaves are falling down. So we'll put that in perspective now. Drones in the woods, if it's a heavy canopy, you're not getting through. Now, with vegetation, as wetlands and stuff like that, you'll see they'll start working into those. So this here is a blend of scanner and that drone together. And so what you've done is we did an overall flight with that drone. You have overall area done, and then it's mixed here with the traditional scanner. So a blend of both, which we now encompass as CPJ because we have a 3D data capture. So it's more reality capture. So if you need any scanning like this, so underneath the bridge, there's a walkway down there. You can walk the scanner in, but at the same time, you can also fly that quadcopter underneath that and get all that same data on there. There's a lot of data to see on there. And this is pretty much a whole town that was done with that. This whole data set was collected in 2 weeks, which I think probably with a regular survey and anything else we've done now, it'd probably take close to a couple months to get this done. So when I was talking about the LiDARs of a wetland, so they are at 13 miles an hour at 200 feet in the air. So if you can see what that's grabbed up there. So the bottom image is basically that bush or tree, and then it has a ravine going through. That's at 13 miles an hour. So they're pretty much flying over it pretty fast. So if you slow down, get that picture in there, now you don't have to send a guy out in the field to get this information. Let me tell you about a guy that's been in the field for a long time. Some of these areas are pretty nasty to walk in. So to have something that you can send out there and give you a good return on what's out there and not have to walk the entire site, it helps out a lot in the field, and it also helps with productivity. This is a field. This is just flying that same drone over. And these are micro drones. Just over the field, what you can see on it. Now, that's not over the roadway. It's on the other side of the roadway, but it gets that much data. I mean, you all know it's a line of sight. Well, once you get up above everything, the line of sight opens up. So you see a lot more. And that's where, 200, 300 feet in the air is about the big distance you need to be. We'll get into another drone thing here in a minute, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is a country club area. They wanted a quick drone fly through. Bam, right on through, popped it in, and now you can just click on there and draw it. I mean, these are all easy, accessible things that we can provide, and you guys can have now in your resume for us to do for you. This is a stockpile. So we're registering here ground in brown, and then any machinery or anything that's hard in gray. So you see the machinery there is a mining operation. Quickly just fly over. This was probably done in about 20 minutes. And then now you have a little harder returns there. This is just for us. I mean, I know the data on here probably doesn't look that good to you guys, but this is intensity by color. So you can start seeing all the lines in there, but this is what the returns give you. Excuse me, I have to take a drink again. So with the laser scanning and the drones, we're able to capture a lot more field data. It's 1 million points a second with some of these. The drone is probably about 50,000 points a second, and the other one's capturing a 4K video at 60 frames a second. Software I'm using, a lot of you guys might not know, I'm using Pix4D, I'm using Trimble Business Center, and these are giving me these out to CAD. So basically we're bringing them in through there and then spitting them back out to you guys however you want them in a CAD program or whatever you're asking for. I'm going to stop talking here for about 2 minutes and let you see a video and then go through the video of what happened afterwards. So this is the video and photos of what it captures. Now it goes through pretty slow. I'll let you guys watch and I'll talk to you. All right, it's almost at the end of this video. So what it was doing, it's slowly going through the areas. Now I'm flying it, and then some of it is itself flying mission here. It has to sit a certain time over a certain area to capture the data that it needs. So in this instance, if I'm looking for a wire size, I need to sit over top of this wire for, about a second or two. So I need to just make sure I stop here and there and just keep stopping. So we're getting all the sizes as we're doing that. But at the same time that this is going on, we're capturing it from the ground. So this area that we did here is probably about 3 acres or so. From the air, it was done in 5 minutes. From the ground, it was done probably in about 40. Traditionally, would have took you a day because you have to shoot all these. The safety factor, we didn't have to go around any of this equipment at all. The safe distance around these, all the driving areas, we didn't have to walk in any of this stuff. That means a lot to me because all these areas here that we're working in are high profile and dangerous areas. Any of these things could have came undone and started doing an arc in there. So it was very good for us to do this. Another part of that video again. So we're also coming through. When it stops at a certain area, that means it's an interested area that we had marked in there that it wants to get. So now we're coming up to a certain area that has a transmission line and then other cable potheads down there, which we wanted to get a little closer look at. So it'll get that look. It'll sit there for a second, and now it's just collecting its data right there, and then it'll begin to move. So the computer knows, and the programs know how long it needs to sit there and collect that data, and then it moves its own, and then you can control it as well. So you always have to be there controlling it and have a spotter to make sure if anything goes on. And I'll keep saying this, you have to be compliant with the FAA. You cannot fly it in areas it's not. If you're near anything that has an area that says you can't fly in there and you don't have a flight plan, like in ours, you have to fill the flight plan out before you fly it, and it'll let you go up. That's the only way you should be flying a drone, because they should know if they're in that area flying. Again, very quick data outputs on it. I mean, we got so much data, so little time. So here's your power lines going through those trees. Basically, you go out, you get the photo. We had to scan on the ground, and then we blended them together, and here's the power lines. I don't think anyone really wants to walk those at all, but you can fly them at 300 feet all the way down, and you're good to go. And you got the same data. Same there again. It's a little bit brighter, but the returns on these are a little bit orange, and that's pretty much the power lines in there. I know I'm going a little bit quicker through this, guys, but I wanted to make sure that I got a chance to answer everybody's questions when I get to the end of this, because I know there's going to be a lot more questions about what it can do, and you guys have specialized things and how we can help you out. So please, when we get ready to get to the end here, like, let me know through here what questions we can answer. I know I got an hour and I'm kind of breezing through it. DOT jobs, train jobs, rail jobs, any bridges, like we can go under underpasses, we can scan them, we can do any of those things you need done. The drones will do it. So I will open up the lines. You guys are free to ask me anything. I'm trying to find out where your questions are. But if anybody would like to unmute, just go ahead and unmute, and we can talk through this because we got a little bit of time.
Hey, this is Matt. Do you always use this for photogrammetry or the measurements, or do you ever get contacted by like marketing communications departments for more of the marketing photos of projects?
Haven't really got anything for any of that, any of those marketing photos or anything. I mean, anyone could reach out to us. I can do any of those. But I mean, basically, I'd like to do my photogrammetry with that, or we'll put the other camera on the Manus and go out there with it. It just depends on what you're really looking for, quality wise. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, makes sense.
I do have a question from Spencer on my answer. He just asked her what we use to obtain the measurements from the photos we upload, and that's Pix4D. I mean, that's pretty open to everybody, but it's basically, I'll say this again, it's however good your survey quality control is. Okay, so if you go out there and set control that's only good to 5/10, your photo is only going to be good to 5/10 in there. So that's the main thing on that. Now, some of these applications that you guys are saying, for your advertising or something like that, like, yeah, one of the guys we have here is he used to do videography for one of the networks down in Washington. So if you guys did need something like that, yeah, we could put together that. I mean, if you look at my LinkedIn page, when I do any of our stuff for our drone stuff, I usually link a little video to it with a little sound thing in there. So I mean, we can make those. They're pretty easy to make. Yeah, so anything like that. Any other questions right now?
Where all do you guys operate?
We are, let's see, Brad's office is there down in Fairfax, Virginia, Maryland, and well, I see. Let me rephrase that. We do DC, Maryland, Virginia, and Delaware. But recently, I've been as far as New Jersey, doing some of these jobs, so we can go pretty far there.
Gotcha.
Now, their licensed surveyors are in those 4 states. So if it's not a licensed surveyor, if it's just imagery or something like that you need, or just like that, we can probably work in those other states. But as for licensed surveyors, we're only licensed in those states, if that answers your question. Okay, I got another one. I have a question here. If everybody can see it, is it difficult to get approval to fly in areas close to DC with all the restrictions? And how do you go about getting approvals for each job? Depending on where you're at in DC, if you're close to an area that has a lot of restricted stuff, I mean, basically, I would say if you're in that capital zone, that 6 block area of anywhere in that where all the major stuff is going on, you're not going to be able to fly. Even the little drones, like the little ones that really don't have to be registered, you're not going to be able to fly those in there because they'll restrict it in there. So I'm trying to think of a geographical area of how far out, because I've flown them over the Anacostia River, closer to New York Avenue, with getting an approval. It usually takes about 2 days to get the approval. You got to tell them what you're going to do, how far you're going to fly. But anything that's going to be down near Smithsonian, the Capitol down there, it's really going to be a hard one to get one with that. That answers your question for you. Good. Okay. But yeah, but pretty much all the other areas, you're like pretty open to do whatever you want in there, as long as you fill that application out with those guys and they know you're going to fly. I live on the island over here, and I had the Kent Island Airport and the Kentmore down there. And anytime we're going to fly from mine, I have to just fill a little flight report. Just because I live in really a non-traffic area, the air traffic controller sees it. He pretty much sends me something back within like a half hour. I launch the drone, and I don't have to worry about anybody coming in there. So I guess it also depends on how much air traffic is in that area too. I mean, over on the area to Eastern Shore, I mean, it seems like every time I fly over here, I can be up in within 15 minutes and get approval. So. Any questions from the construction guys about getting volumes out there on your stuff? Is there anyone on here from that? That way you can kind of know any from there. I got another one from Spencer here. Yes, you need to get certified by the FAA as an operator to get an approval for each flight. Yeah, so it's the part 107, the FAA. It's basically for you to take a drone and fly it, and you got to keep going through the approvals. It's just like getting like a boater's license and kind of like a driver's license. I mean, you got to follow the protocols on there. If you mess up, you're done for a little while. I know people that have messed up pretty much. And when you say get approval for each flight, if the flight is going to be used for commercial use and not for recreational use, yes, you need to get approval because you're no longer doing it. But if you say bought one of those little mini Mavics or one of those little Parrots or whatever things like, and you wanted to fly it at your house for your kid or anything like that, as long as you stay underneath of that ceiling and it's not over the weight requirements, you don't have to get approval. So a lot of these guys are buying like for their sons and daughters, they're getting them from like Best Buy, the little ones, and then you get the ones from the mall or whatever. You don't need approval to fly that. But now once you get over 5 pounds, you need an approval to fly that. And if you're doing a commercial flight, you definitely need to fly it. So if we're doing anything for any clients or anything, we need to get approval to be out there. And if that sums it up. Yeah, Mark Keller. Yes, 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 it does. Because if you're going to be using it in the commercial area, you're going to probably be over top of people, and just to fly that out there, you might be out of a right of way. So they're going to need to know that, just so regardless of weight. I haven't seen anyone out there. Thanks. Yep, no problem, Matt. Ceiling height usually right around 500 feet, Chris. I generally like. I mean, if you're trying to get data, the closer you can get to the data, the better it is, the less pixelated it is. So, I mean, if you're doing surveying, let's be honest, unless we're in a major city, we're not doing any skyscrapers. We're going to be under 300 feet. So even when you're scanning, even when I'm scanning things out just with terrestrial scanning there, I like to make sure everything's within about 150 to 200 feet of my main objective. So I like to keep my stations within that. So I like to just keep that with the same flow with the drones too. So I don't like to be above, 200 feet, because I'm trying to capture data on the ground. I'm not trying to capture data in the air, if that makes sense. But yeah, the ceiling's about 500. Anything under 500 feet, you're good to go, because everything, fixed wing and rotorcopters are all 500 feet. Only thing you have to worry about is we have those little paragliders over here, or what are they called? The guys fly with little rafts and stuff like that. They fly the little kit things, ultralights. You have to watch out for those over here. So that's why we have to call in. But thank you for asking. Um, yeah, depending on which, well, usually the company carries the insurance on the drone being out there. Um, of course, so that would be whatever the requirements for usually project are out there, aerial projects on there. Our insurance will require that, so will carry that, so you wouldn't have to worry about that. But when you're saying that, um, you want to be just careful of your surroundings too. So when the guys, that just brings up another point. So when you're operating a drone out there, you want it to be good conditions. That you're not going to operate a drone in the rain, the snow. You're not going to operate in a heavy wind. You primarily want the wind to be under about 8 miles an hour on the ground, because the higher you go up, the more the drafts come. I've taken a drone off on a relatively calm day down here and got it up to about 200 feet and watched it blow all over the place. So usually for the insurance requirements, we'll take care of that. But also, you shouldn't be flying a drone if there's some issues out there that's going to like hurt anybody on the site. You know what I mean? You should just make sure you don't fly it that day. But yes. All right. Let's see. Here we go. Any more questions? All right. Well, if there's no more questions, I think my email came up in there. I think I'm under Brad's name today, just because I'm not at the office. I'm at home. Of course, you can probably see behind me, I have my clock that's not working. Of course, if you have any questions for what we talked about, or if you want to get in deep about, you have projects that you need done with this, or you need help going this way. Of course, at my previous job, I was a trainer for Trimble, certified. So if you guys want to reach out, partner up, need help doing this, we're more than glad to do that for you. We can guide you through, help you get it done. Again, you can email me at cguagliardo@cpj.com, and I'll type it into the message box here. There that is. Thanks everybody for joining me today. I'm sorry I couldn't take up your whole hour of lunch. I hope I didn't bore you too much. I have another meeting here at 1 o'clock to go through. But like I said, if anyone needs anything, please feel free to reach out to me, email, let me know. And if anyone wants us to come out and do anything, I'd be more than glad to come out there and also feature on our LinkedIn as we're doing it out there, help you guys. And I guess that's about it. I'd just like to say thank you guys and have a great day.